I would love to see 1 trillion humans living in the solar system. If we had 1 trillion humans, we would have, at any given time, 1,000 Mozarts and 1,000 Einsteins. Our solar system would be full of life and intelligence and energy. And we can easily support a civilization that large with all of the resources in the solar system.
So what do you think that looks like? Giant space stations?
Yeah, the only way to get to that vision is with giant space stations. We will take materials from the moon and from near-Earth objects and from the asteroid belt and so on, and we'll build giant O'Neill-style colonies, and people will live in those. And they have a lot of advantages over planetary surfaces. You can spin them to get normal Earth gravity. You can put them where you want them. I think most people are going to want to live near Earth, not necessarily in Earth orbit, but in Earth vicinity orbits. They can move relatively quickly back and forth between their station and Earth. So I think a lot of people, especially in the early stages, are not going to want to give up Earth altogether.
They go to Earth for vacation.
Yeah. And people get to choose whether they live on Earth or whether they live in space. But they'll be able to use much more energy and much more material resource in space than they would be able to use on Earth. We have traded some of that pristine beauty for all of these other gifts that we have as an advanced society. And we can have both. But to do that, we have to go to space. And all of this, really, the most fundamental measure is energy usage per capita. And when you look at, you do want to continue to use more and more energy. It is going to make your life better in so many ways, but that's not compatible ultimately with living on a finite planet. And so we have to go out into the solar system. And really, you could argue about when you have to do that, but you can't credibly argue about whether you have to do that.
Eventually, we have to do that.
Exactly. So Blue Ring is a very interesting spacecraft that is designed to take up to 3,000 kilograms of payload. It has two different kinds of propulsion. It has chemical propulsion and it has electric propulsion. And it can also provide transportation and move you around to different orbits.
Including humans, you think?
No, but Blue Ring is not designed to move humans around. It's designed to move payloads around. So we're also building a lunar lander, which is, of course, designed to land humans on the surface of the moon, have lots of power on the surface of the moon. That will make it easier for people to live on the moon. Similarly, we're working on extracting oxygen from lunar regolith. So lunar regolith by weight has a lot of oxygen in it. So that also could work together with the solar cells. Ultimately, we may be able to find practical quantities of ice in the permanently shadowed craters on the poles of the moon. And we know there is ice water in those craters, and we know that we can break that down with electrolysis into hydrogen and oxygen. And then you'd not only have oxygen, but you'd also have a very good high efficiency propellant fuel in hydrogen. So there's a lot we can do to make the moon more sustainable over time. But the very first step, the kind of gate that all of that has to go through, is we need to be able to land cargo and humans on the surface of the moon at an acceptable cost.
To fast forward a little bit, is there any chance Jeff Bezos steps foot on the moon and on Mars?
It's very unlikely. I think it's probably something that gets done by future generations by the time it gets to me. I think in my lifetime, that's probably going to be done by professional astronauts. Sadly, I would love to sign up for that mission. So don't count me out yet, Lex. Give me a fighting shot here, maybe. Yeah. But I think if we are placing reasonable bets on such a thing in my lifetime, that will continue to be done by professional astronauts.